Like, what if I just got brainwashed tomorrow and Jesus Christ was like, Carl, you are no longer a Cubs fan. You can be a fan of whatever team you want. This is the American League Friday show. So I texted you. I was like, hey, we should put together 1 through 15, the team, if we could pick, if we could draft, or if we wanted to be a team. Do you want to work from the, like, who would be the team we would pick? So do you want to work backwards? You want to start with like 15, 14? Should we trade? Should we have one list? Should we have 2 lists? How should we do this?
I was thinking one list that like we do the power rankings with, where we go back and forth, and then we could each have our own, but I feel like that would make for the best conversation. I think. All right.
So let's put together
one could be substantially higher than where we would have put it. One could be substantially lower.
Now, I think it's easier to work backwards from 15.
Yes, I'm with you.
Because if we start with 1, I'm like, no. I want to work backwards from 15. I think we're going to agree with 15.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with that right now. Sadly, the Oakland A's.
Okay.
A passionate fan base that is, going to be leaving town pretty soon. Stinks.
So number 15, Oakland. I don't have any disagreements. I have them. Now, I should also say, this is from the perspective of, like, is the team good? Are they going anywhere? Do you like their ownership? Do you trust them historically? Is this a good, are you getting in at the right time? Is this a good time to be a fan of this team? And so for the A's, no, absolutely not. This is like the worst time to be an Oakland A's fan. Number 2 or 14, I have the White Sox. There's so many other teams out there right now. They're just in complete disarray. Like, every time you hear about the White Sox, it is like Tim Anderson doesn't want to be here, and the young players are mad, and they got to fire the new manager who's replacing the new manager who was replacing the new, like, it's utter chaos. Jerry Reinsdorf does not spend any money, despite the fact he's super rich. He's a super successful sports owner historically. Kenny Williams has been there forever. And the other thing is, they fucked with their fans real bad, because they were going out there talking about, like, parades, multiple championships, multiple, just shitting on the rest of their division. And they're so bad relative to what they promise fans. That's like one of those things. I don't stay away, like, being a fan of that team, being a fan of the White Sox. Oh, I cheer for the White Sox. That's crazy to me right now.
Yes, fair. I have them at 13, but I'll put at 13 on our list. This will be controversial. I'm going with the Angels, because I think that there's. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure, because I think that there would be, the way I looked at it is, which team would I want to be a fan of right now? Like, what team's got the best future? What team can I get most excited for right now? And yes, you do have those crown jewels in Trout and Ohtani. That has to make the consistent mediocrity, we talked about it earlier, so much more frustrating. To be bad, to be tanking, like what the A's are now. What do you expect? Oh, there's a reason to have expectations with some of the talent that you have on your roster, and they will always come up short. That's got to be frustrating. I think it's a similar position to the White Sox, honestly, with the constantly hovering around 500. Are you going to spend? Or are you not going to spend? Talent, you don't really build around it. They're cut from the same cloth.
I'm going to take another controversial team here.
Okay, we're on to 12. Right, yeah.
So we're 12?
Yeah.
All right. The 12th worst American League team that I don't want to be a fan of you at all is got to be the Minnesota Twins. Because all they do is get smashed in the postseason. And, like, they spent all that money on Carlos Correa. It's like, this still doesn't, like, we're just sitting here being like, doesn't matter, guys. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It sucks when you see Sonny Gray and Joe Ryan ball out, and Pablo Lopez is awesome, and they've got a great rotate, and you're like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Because the second the Minnesota Wild go to, like, a Stanley Cup, like, quarterfinals, whatever's going on with the Twins, nobody will care about. Like, it's just to me is such an utterly secondary, tertiary, like, they care way more about the Golden Gophers than they do about the Minnesota Twins. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people from Minnesota can come back to me and be like, you fucking moron, we like them. But it just is, to me, is always like a disconnected team from that. I'm going to get killed for this, but I just don't like them. I just don't want to go cheer. I get what you're saying. I had them higher. I almost put them lower because of the logic you just had. I guess the way I was looking at it was, if I was a Twins fan right now
at least you are competitive. And it looks like you may be built to be competitive for a minute. And yes, it might not end well, but I can't put them below, or I wouldn't have put them below the number 11 team, Kansas City Royals. Another team with pieces, another very passionate fan base. We saw the way they filled that park when that team was really rolling there in the mid 2010s. But outside of our boy Vinny and most likely Bobby Witt Jr.,
thank you.
I think that there are a lot of questions with their player and especially pitcher development. It's a team that rarely ever spends any money. You need to build through the draft. You need to build through your system. It seems like they've kind of swung and missed on a few guys at this point. And you are just bringing in a GM in his first year. This is going to take a while, so that's why I have them where I have them.
I will point out Michael Massey's been outstanding in May with a 930 OPS. And he went to my high school and to my college, and I like Michael Massey a lot. So we haven't done that at all on the show yet, but you're going to get some Michael Massey chatter as soon as the OPS starts to bubble up a little bit. I have to say that I'm partial to the Kansas City Royals, obviously because of Vinny, obviously because I became buddies with a bunch of these guys down in Arizona and got a chance to spend time with them. And I will tell you an endearing story when I first got to Arizona, and I didn't have just me and my wife down there. And the Royals were like, hey, does your wife want to hang out with our wives? Like, they go out to dinner on Fridays and they do shit and go shopping and stuff if Mrs. Carl wants to get in on that. And she did, and she became friends with these people. And they were super, like, I just like those boys, and this is so biased. I try not to be biased on the national show. I try to do the best I can, but I'm like, I have the Royals higher than where they should be. I try to be objective. I had them 11th. So
okay, yeah,
we have them here 11th.
Oh
so
wait, no, so that works out. Yeah, we just had the Twins at a much different spot. We're on to 10 now.
Nope.
I have a guess of where you're going to go here, but
okay. What's your guess?
I think you're going to go with my Tigers.
I am. I'm taking your Tigers 10. Okay, so I like the ballpark. I was like enamored with Comerica, and I also just like the history and the tradition. I like the way baseball fits into Detroit sports, and I like that knowing if the Tigers were good and competitive, that Comerica would be a very difficult place to play. I like Scott Harris a lot. I like some of these young players a lot. The energy. I fucking love AJ Hinch.
Me too.
Like, I know he's a cheater, but he's a great manager. He's a great manager. Not a good manager. He's a great manager. Yeah. I like the uniform. I like the D. I like the hat. And here's the most underrated part about being a Tigers fan. I loved your post-game party afterwards. Like, we didn't get up to on the tin roof, but like that little post square area in the circle where everybody was dancing and grinding, and like that was a party. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. No, I think a year ago at this time, I would have had us probably 14 on this list. Just with the addition of Scott Harris alone and the way they've played so far this season, there's a little bit more hope there than there is, I feel like, with the other four teams long term than I feel like there is with the other four teams that we mentioned. So you had them at 10. Man, I like this team a lot too. I root for them. But I think I got to put them 9, despite how good they've been, over the last decade or so. The Guardians, just because they're in a similar spot to some other teams on this list where I think there's talent here. I think that I actually think Progressive Field is an underrated ballpark. You have a superstar in J-Ram, but it's like they're one notch away from really going all out, really spending, really putting together a team that was rolling the way that they were in the 90s when they had some of the best offenses ever. So it's got to be a frustrating watch year in and year out, knowing that they're good, even sometimes very good, is not good enough.
Well said.
Thank you.
Here's the most gutting thing about the Guardians is that the Dolans I think they're the 4th richest family in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. No, they're very similar to the Illiches, man, where it's at least, we've spent more than they have. It speaks to what's been missing there. It's just that one big push, that one big free agent could have made all the difference.
8? Fuck.
I believe it's, yes, 8.
So I have, this is where I had the Angels.
Okay.
Like in this area. So I think we had the Angels and the Twins kind of flip-flop because I do like, it's California,
Fair.
sunshine. But we're 8. I'm going to go Rangers. There's just enough there for me to be interested. Bruce Bochy's starting to win me over. I don't like a new park. I would hate to get acclimated to a new park, especially if I grew up as a kid going to that park. I'd say renovate the park I went to as a kid. Don't give me a new park. I don't care how nice the park is. If you change the park I went to as a little kid, I'd be furious. So that's just kind of working against me here. Some of these young kids coming up are going to be awesome, though. They look like they're competitive. The Rangers, 3 years from now, could be in the top 3. They could be in the bottom 3 of this.
They're a boom or bust team, I feel like, just as a whole with the core they put together. But I had them a little bit higher on my initial list because I think that it would be easy to go to the park right now. Let's go see something. We have legit stars on our team. We're in first place. Yes, like maybe we're a World Series team, maybe we're not, but we are gonna be in the playoffs this year, and we're gonna be playing competitive baseball. So I had them a little bit higher, but that takes us to number 7.
Correctables.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna think we're putting this team too high. I went with the Red Sox because I know there's a lot of Red Sox fans that are really mad at ownership right now, really mad at Bloom. I get it, but at the same time, you're not nearly as bad as you think you are. And I do think the future is a little bit brighter than people let on. It's still Fenway. There's still the history, still the tradition. I have a hard time believing it's ever going to be that difficult to be a Red Sox fan, but I could be wrong. Well, outside of the 86 years that preceded that, where they went in between championships, but I'm talking in my lifetime, the Red Sox are the dominant team, more so than the Yankees.
I had them number 1.
Did you really? Okay.
And they just transcend the sport. Like, if you could be a Red Sox fan, because they have everything I like as a Cubs fan, except they fucking care, and they're a little bit sharper, and they're a little bit more gritty and kind of in it. I love being a Cubs fan, and I love what that means. I love going to a ballpark at 1:00 and like, hey, you're a couple beers before the game. You're supposed to get there at 11:30 and have a couple beers on an empty stomach. Like, you're supposed to go into the outfield and yell dumb, bad jokes. They're not supposed to be funny. Like, you're supposed to get mad when they do the wave, and you're supposed to make friends with people that are in their 50s and in their 20s and in the couple in from Iowa. And you're supposed to be goofy and silly and have a good time. And that's the core of being a Cubs fan. Red Sox fans, I'm sorry, like, being a core Red Sox fan is like, you show up on opening day and you are fucking ready to roll for a season. You fucking hate your owner. You fucking are so mad those guys aren't coming back. You are just in it in such a deeply profound way that isn't about like, we're better than you, or it's just so much about themselves. Like, they're just so fucking into themselves. And I'm jealous. I think it would be an awesome thing to be a part of.
So the way you're describing it, is there anything the Red Sox could do that would remove them from number 1 on this list?
I mean, dude, Fenway in like July. You're telling me I get to go to Fenway in July and wear like a Red Sox jersey and talk shit to like the Orioles? Like, you fucking Bob. Oh, man, that's good living. That is good living. And just to be part of that wild pack, with all they're such a cool team. And I do hate the fact that the owner doesn't meet with the media, but they paid Devers. They did pay Devers. I know they didn't pay Bogarts, but they paid Devers. They paid Yoshida. He ain't shitty. I don't know, man. Maybe it's a bad take for them, 1-1. But as we were putting this list together, I was like, there's nobody who's doing anything where I was like, I want to go be part of that, anything more than what the Red Sox are doing. But you're an American League guy. I'm not.
Comments are going to be really divisive because I bet there's going to be people who are going to totally agree with you, people who are going to agree with me, putting them kind of mid-tier, and people who think that it's miserable to be a fan of them right now and that there's no hope. So I'm excited to read what people have to say about that. But we're on to 6, so it's you now.
Taking the Rays, just they're
yeah, it's fair.
Every year they're good. I don't want to complicate this. Every year they're good. They don't ask much of their fans. It's probably easy to go to that ballpark. I know it sucks. Here's the other thing that's cool. They play the Yankees all the time. I know they changed the rules with the scheduling and stuff, but
they still play them a lot.
They're in that division. That's a nice division to be in. That's a nice division to follow. It's like, oh, the Red Sox are playing the Yankees tonight, and the Blue Jays are playing that's a really fun. I don't get that. The Central, the Reds are playing the Brewers. Nobody gives a fuck.
Right. Fair. Number 5, I'm staying in the East, going with the Yankees. Obviously, so much built-in tradition there. Understandably, a lot of frustration with the way the postseason has gone since 2009. But at the same time, look, you have a guy in your team that hit 62 home runs last year, and Garrett Cole takes the mound once every 5th day. There is they've gotten to that point again. I've talked about earlier where it's like with some other teams where maybe their best just isn't good enough or hasn't been. But there's a lot to look forward to. I think the Yankees are the one team in sports where you can say year in and year out, game 162 will mean something. The last game will mean something. And it's, there's not a lot of teams in all sports that can say that. So I think that does make being a fan of them fun because you have something to latch on to all summer.
Yeah, the only thing, I had the Yankees 4th on my list, and they would be up there in that Red Sox conversation for all of those great reasons. Like, there is that sense of like, man, it'd be cool to be a Yankees fan, especially if you grew up watching Derek Jeter just, every year it was like Michael Jordan and the Bulls and Derek Jeter and the Yankees were just winning championships in the championship for like a 11-year stretch. Jordan, Jeter. It's too inconvenient. They ask a lot of the fans. It's just a lot. Like, being a Yankees fan is just, you have to like take all the good with the bad and all the bad with the good. And to me with the Yankees, that's the thing that holds them back from the Red Sox. I just think there's a little bit more charm to being a Red Sox fan. And where like the Yankees, they just don't have that like, ooh, that'd be like, it would be fun, but I don't know if I would like myself for it.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fair. It'd feel icky.
Okay, icky 4. I'm going Mariners. Mariners 4. I like Mariners culture. I think Mariners are cool guys. You have them 4?
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah.
I like their culture. I think Mariners fans are fun people. And a good example of that would be like, sure, the 12th man in Seattle is so cheesy, but like, they believed it. They believe that you put on your jersey with number 12 on it and you go to the Seahawks games and you yell loud enough and the team won. And you would like go home after and, hey, we had a great game cheering tonight, Brad. Like, you too, Kyle. Thanks, Chad. Like, we all brought the noise tonight. That's super dorky, but at the same time, like, that's being a sports fan. And the Mariners have that core to play with.
Yeah,
like, that's the true blood of being a Seattle sports fan. Is like, we're gonna get our boys. It's gonna be a tough one tonight. Safeco or T-Mobile or whatever it's called, and that's endearing. It's also, they got a great team to be a fan of. I mean, just a great product on the field, young players. I like them. I want to be a Mariners fan.
No, I get it. Yeah, I guess there might be some pushback just because of the way they've started this season, but future there's still really bright. A lot of good, fun, young players. Franchise player in J-Rod. So I'm with you there. I think, okay, this will be interesting to see how we arrange these next 3. At 3, I have, even though I kind of talked shit about them earlier, it would be a lot of fun to be a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, I think I'm looking at cores. It's like you have 4 or 5 really good players on that offense that can mash. You have some good pitchers. Ballpark just got renovated. You're another team that like is in win now mode. Like, the championship window is open. That is, whether it results in a title or not, I'm telling you, that is just fun to pay attention to all year. So I'm going with them at 3.
It's a good pick. It's the only team in Canada. You got a great base to pull from. Everybody likes them. They save hockey. That's what they get into their fights about. Well, that's because you're a Flames fan, you white collar pussy, and it's like, okay, you blue collar bum from Edmonton. Like, they get mean about the hockey stuff. When it comes to baseball, they're all very nice. They're all very friendly.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Orioles.
Yep, that was mine as well.
Just obviously young. I like Brandon Hyde a lot. Going to Camden Yards is sick. It's a great history tradition. You got a lot of stuff to buy into and learn about. Like, there's a lot of reasons to be proud. Obviously, the ownership sucks right now. My understanding is this is like getting in on like an EPL team where the owner's about to sell. Like, maybe it's not this year, next year, but like, this ownership group's on the move, and the next people that come in are going to take the Orioles to like the next level. And hopefully it's while Adley Rushman's still an Oriole. Like, that'd be so sick if if you could, and it's not going to be Cuban, but that type of person that would come in and see exactly how much potential is there in the city of Baltimore with a championship caliber team year in, year out.
Yeah, no, and they're, to me, as a fan base, they're in the honeymoon phase now, because it's not championship or bust this year. You win your 90 games, you get into the postseason, you experience a little bit of it, you're on the rise. Like, this is, you're playing with house money. That is super fun as a fan, when the expectations, and I think the fans had reasonable expectations, but maybe aren't through the roof, and you're overshooting those. That's fantastic. And number one, I mean, I thought we'd agree. Houston Astros, I mean, they have become the muscle that other teams just can't seem to defeat. I mean, they have become, to this era, what the Yankees of the mid to late 90s and into the early 2000s were. How do we beat this team? We want to win the World Series. How do we get through this team? And they have had not the best of luck with everything. Look at the number of free agents they've lost. Look at the amount of injuries they've had, and they just keep chugging along. Maybe this team won't win the World Series, but they are in the midst of what's been basically close to a decade-long window of competition that every team would kill to have.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. I like eloquently. The Astros picture. Don't get too caught up into it. I like the Astros because I like, just very realistically, like, I like watching their players play. I like Alex Bregman. I like watching him take grounders at third. I like him. Yeah. I like watching him hit with 2 strikes. I like when the inside fastball is 99 miles an hour, he still figures out a way to keep his barrel on the inside and extend and drive it to left center. Like, that, the guy is such a perfect looking baseball player. But then you have, like, the Titanic Yordan Alvarez, who just creates these unbelievable moments. And then you've got a guy like Tucker, who's probably going to put together a fucking Hall of Fame resume. Like, at the end of the day, the guy who might have the most, like, did you know he's the only player to hit 400 doubles and 350 home runs and all that crazy, stupid shit? And it's like, oh, yeah, did you even know that guy was in the middle of the lineup? Meanwhile, like, Jeremy Pena is like being that guy for the next generation of kids, for, like, the kids that are growing up right now. Like, you get Jeremy Pena, you fucking lucky kids. You lucky. Yeah. Tuve's not even playing.
Well, that's the other thing is that's what I bring up is, like, they have lost guys, and had some devastating moments, pitching injuries, position player injuries. Mauricio Dubon's hitting 300. Like, he had a 20-game hitting streak earlier this year. Of course he did. Like, has to be so freeing as a fan to be like, don't worry, we find guys. It's all good. Like, one guy goes down, we'll get a replacement player that's going to play out of his mind for a few months. It's fine.
So here's our 15. I'm going to go top down. 1 Astros, 2 Orioles, 3 Blue Jays, 4 Mariners, 5 Yankees, 6 Rays, 7 Red Sox, 8 Rangers, 9 Guardians, 10 Tigers, 11 Royals, 12 Twins, 13 Angels. Then we close it out, White Sox, Athletics. It's a good list. Yep. Good exercise.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I'll be interested to see what people have to say about it.
Yeah, the Red Sox at 7 is going to be...
Yeah, that'll be the most divisive, I feel like. Has to be.
Yeah. What else you got? Anything? Huge.
Well, huge in my world. Huge in my world, real quick. I just saw this on Twitter. 2 years ago today, Spencer Turnbull threw a no-hitter. So, to the people listening to this or watching this right now, that's the reason I got hired. So just appreciate all the Stoolies and the Barstool baseball people for continuing to let me into your world. It's been awesome.
Yes. Continue to let Chris into your world by subscribing to the show, subscribing to our feed. This is Friday. This is an American League show where we talk about the American League. We will be back next week, hopefully with a Mariners person, in some more news. We'll be back on Monday with a power ranking panel, and then Wednesday National League, Friday American League. You guys know where to find us. Subscribe to our stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.